Are you brave enough to try and really suck at something new? And I mean really brave enough. Because most people do stay stuck in their comfort zones because they're so afraid of failure. But the funny thing is that failure, that's humanity. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to fail so that we can take the lesson, reflect, learn, and do better. And so many people, unfortunately, have this illusion of perfection that they're beating themselves up because they're afraid of that failure. And that's very unfortunate. It is a very unfortunate thing. So how can you try and begin something new? Let's take some steps and some tips. So I'm reading through this here in Health Expert, and this is an example of I am full disclosure not good at I've read a lot. I'm very well read. I've read so many books in my life. But I am not good at reading. Just like if I see a word, I can't just read it. So I have this little app, Pronounce, when I see something, and then I put it in generally, and I try to like read it, but then I put it in, and I was going Health Expert, and I can't say this properly. I put it into my app, and then the app didn't help me though very much. So listen to this. Does that even sound like English? Tallest. Okay, so that's not happening very well. But the tips are from Health Expert and monk David James Lees, and he suggests some of the tips that I absolutely agree with. So see, stepping outside your comfort zone, getting on a video and admitting that you can't properly read. I remember I would do a lot of speeches and different things too, and when I would have to say the names, oh man, like I would like butcher them, right? And that's embarrassing. But it had to be something to step outside my comfort zone, especially when you're in front of thousands of people and you're having to, and that was always embarrassing, but it was something I worked through and said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to do my best. It's not an insult to people. I'm trying my best. But that's my limitations. I struggle with that with my learning disability. So I've had to push through that in my life. And people, I've been criticized for it, made to feel less than by a lot of people that are academics. I'm not great at spelling. I'm not great, I'm not going to stop that from continuing on, because then I wouldn't be successful. So if that's their version, I had to learn and understand if that's their version of, success or what makes somebody smart, well, then I actually had to learn that they're not that smart in the first place, because that's not kindness. And I'm a kind person. I would never judge or criticize somebody for that. So it's how we talk to ourselves and different things. So that's just a side note and point. So don't be one of those people, because that's not nice, right? Especially when people are trying, be nicer and kinder to people, right? For us people that aren't that great at spelling and reading, okay, we're still doing stuff. So I'm giving myself credit for that. Begin with tiny steps. So that's David, begin with tiny steps, getting outside of your comfort zone every day and just trying something. This helps you to build trust in your own abilities, right? So that self-talk could have been for me before, well, I'm not going to do this, or I can't do this because I can't read it properly, I can't spell, or I'm going to look stupid. Well, yeah, and that's okay. And you work with that. And you still move forward. So it's recognizing, so in that process, being 100% focused on your process versus the self-talk and the comparison and the judgments. Well, if I compare myself to the people that are, speaking in videos who can pronounce things well and who have maybe assistants to help them with those types of things, or people that read lines with them, or whatever else it is to make them better, I can focus on that and not move forward with what I'm doing, or I can focus on the fact that I'm moving forward every day. I'm getting better, getting more comfortable just speaking to the camera. I'm getting more comfortable just whatever, fill in the blanks. But it's the narrative that goes on, recognizing the progress versus beating yourself up in comparison and judgment. Very different way of looking at it. Remember to pause and take stock at every learning opportunity to learn, really. Goal milestone that you have set for yourself. Acknowledge any process or success, no matter how small. And I know myself, I was very hard on myself. I was always beating myself up. I in my life was so hard on myself that I never recognized anything I did as successful. And the funny thing is, and I have to step back now, right? Like I was I had set goals. I'm going to be a published fitness model. I'm going to be on television. I'm going to be a host. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to, be a mother in these areas, and I want to be the best version of a mom, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to not be this way, and I'm going to, right, I've open a store and build a strong community. I'm gonna step in a boxing ring and get punched in the face and raise as much money as I possibly can, and awareness to this cause. Like, whatever. I've had a lot in my life that I've done that I never, and truthfully, I've had a list of things that have been great that I never recognized as success. Never recognized as success. Because I was always comparing myself, really, if I'm honest, to like a different world, I guess, of things going well. Yeah, but I wasn't doing this or wasn't doing that. Like, I was always minimizing the things that I had been through because I was comparing constantly, which is very dangerous, in the world of social media and the different things of the modern world. I was always finding ways to look for the reason on why I did what I did wasn't good enough, versus giving myself credit for doing those things, which is very dangerous. The outside world could see it as whatever way, but my internal talk was not good. So I've had these successes and I had to stop and go, hold on, Candace, look at what you've done in your life. Look at how far you've come. And where I give myself more credit is I had to recognize was truthfully the traumas and the difficulties and who I was at my core as a person, and the fact that I worked through so many adversities to get those things, and how I got them, I have to admit I'm so proud of, because I kept my integrity. I made so many mistakes and different things, and those mistakes and that learning was the best thing that I ever did. And there's no shame in any of that. And then I can go, wow, I'm proud of myself for what I've accomplished. I had to, versus what magazine it was, or what, amount of following, or what amount of thing, like none of that mattered, or what amount of money, or what, none of that. I had to see what I had gone through as a human, where I started, and the transformation I made to make that. And that made me proud. Seeing that transformation. And then when I looked back at that, I went, oh, okay, now I understand the mindset around that, and the self-talk, and how I've evolved as a human and as a person because of that. The things I did along the way, the whatever achievements, are only, it's like trophies to yourself. Right? Here's a documentation of that. Like, it's a self-trophy. Oh, I've done this, or I've accomplished that. That's the trophy and the mark. But the growth and the learning and the mindset process of how I evolved is what made the difference. And that's the most important thing, too, as well, with the process for you to understand. When you look back at your successes and the things you've done, look at what you had to go through to achieve those things, and how you have evolved as a human being. And then what are you doing with that now? And what are your new targets, right? But it can be little things along the way, right? It doesn't have to be so big and then comparison. It's what's relevant to you, and that's the most important thing. What's relevant to you. So if things don't go according to plan, do not let your ego, really your critical ego mind, jump into saying I told you so, and you're a failure. And that, again, that self-talk. I'd set myself targets to be at a specific place, whatever goals, and then I've fallen short of those goals. I've had to, at times, reevaluate and reassess, right, as I'm going through and learning to do new things, that just because I didn't achieve that specific target doesn't mean I'm a failure. Could have been that other things had to come, the universe, anything had to come along the way, those distractions, to make me readjust my mind. So what was the opportunity and the learning that I had to get me, and then go back to going to, okay, now I'm going back to this whatever I was doing, and being more forgiving to yourself that you're trying something new. And a lot of people aren't willing to try something new. They would rather stay in their comfort zones. So I'm going to ask you to list 2 new things you would like to try. And it could be small or it could be big. What are 2 new things you have never done that you want to try? Let me know in the comments below.